Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Today I'm going to show you how you can use the Bouquet of Love hybrid embossing folder. And I've used it to create this very beautiful card. It's a large card. I'm also going to show you how you can make a card when your paper isn't large enough from 2 pieces of cardstock. And I'm going to show you a trick on how you can center these mats exactly in the middle, so that they match on the card as well, with an equal border all around. So first let us start with the base card. Now I've used shimmery white cardstock because of the shimmer and because of the very subtle colouring. It's lighter than very vanilla, for example, and it's not as starkly white as the basic white. And I wanted something which had a more muted colour. I have 2 pieces of shimmery white. One I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. So I'm getting my scoreboard out. Now make sure that you have the 6 3/4 side top when you do your scoring. And then you score at 1/2 inch. And first you're going to adhere these 2 pieces together. I'm folding, my sleeves are in the way. It's quite cold today, so I decided to wear my thick sweater, but I prefer to do my crafting without any sleeves hanging on my hands. But that's just me. Okay, I'm going to use my tear and tape and put some down. And then I'm going to snip off just a bit of this glue flap, so just a tiny wedge at either end. See, that's all that I've taken away. And then the other piece I'm going to stick it on, and I made it just a bit smaller, so it is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4, but one of the 6 3/4 sides I just, not even a 1/16 of an inch, but I made it a bit smaller. And now then I'm going to take away the paper from the tear and tape, and I'm tapping it on my table, making sure that all the sides align, and then I can fold this over and you have your card base ready. And here it doesn't really show that there is this, well, you can't see where I've stuck it together. Now if your back piece sticks out from the front piece, you can always trim it, but by cutting it just a tad smaller to start with, it probably won't show. Then I have a piece of Blushing Bride, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I have a piece of shimmery white again to center on the card, and I want to make sure that these end up absolutely in the center. So I'm going to show you the embossing folder first of all. It embosses like a dream, and it has its own set of dies. There are these very nice flowers and a leaf, 2 labels, and a big heart and a smaller heart. Now this big heart you can slide in here, and it slides in almost like, well, a jigsaw puzzle, I suppose you could call it. And when it's in there, and when you run it through your emboss machine, it will emboss and cut the heart at the same time, for a very beautiful effect. These flowers I've also used for my card. I'll show you the card again. See, on the corners. And I've also used the label because there is a matching stamp set, and I've used the congratulations because this is a wedding anniversary card that I've made. I have a trick for you, as I promised, to make sure that when you die cut this piece of paper, your heart ends up in the middle. Now, with this size it's not so difficult to do, but with this size it is. I had mixed results, frankly, by putting it in like this, and I wasn't happy with how things went, so I thought of how can I make this easier for myself. Well, I'm using my grid paper. First I'm looking for where the heart is, the indentation and the pointy bit that I put on this fat grid line in the middle, and then I know that this is halfway as well, so I'm looking for that one, so keeping my heart on the grid line and here halfway through, and then I'm checking on my grid paper that my emboss folder is aligned with these lines and there as well, and then you can put in your paper. But you see, on the back of my paper I've drawn a cross. Now this is 5 3/4, so half of it will be 2 7/8, so 14,6 centimeter. 14. Sorry, I went on in Dutch there. 14.6 centimeters. Half of that is 7.3 centimeters, and you put those pencil lines onto the lines of your grid paper that you can see. Then you very carefully close your folder, and you can run it through your machine. Now for this one, on purpose, I'm not cutting the heart because I want the bulkiness of the heart underneath. I'll show you later what I mean. So I'm putting my penciled lines on the grid lines, and then I'm very carefully closing my folder, and then you run it through your emboss machine, and I'll show you the sandwich that you need. You just need your number 1 plate and the number 4 plate, that's all. Oops, be careful. So you just put it in, and I'm checking it, see it, and very important, always run it through with the hinge side first if you don't want to ruin your emboss folder. Then you put your plate on top and you can run it through. I did it a bit awkwardly because I was trying not to bump into my tripod. And now look at the beautifully embossed paper. I hope the camera picks this up. I'm going to repeat this now with my 4-inch piece. But now I'm putting the heart in. So again, I'm aligning my embossing folder, and I'm checking for the grid lines that I have it on straight. Put your heart in, and then this is a 4x4 piece, so that's 10.2 centimeters by 10.2 centimeters, so half of that will be 2x2. And then again, oh, I do need my pencil lines on top, of course, Karin. I just put my pencil lines on, and now I know that this is exactly in the middle where I want it. And then you carefully close your emboss folder and you run it through the emboss machine again. I did this off camera because I thought, well, having seen it once, it'll be okay with you. Then you see the effect of the embossing and cutting at the same time. There are 2 inks that I've used for the flowers, for the leaves I should say, my Pear Pizzazz, and then Blushing Bride for the flowers and the emboss folders, because I'm going to use a sponge dauber to ink all the edges. It makes them pop even more. And now it's very easy to assemble your card. I've also cut 2 extra hearts and used the ink, and I forgot to use my sponge dauber and a cotton bud to colour some of the flowers. So I'll do that before I assemble my card. So for the larger flowers I've used the emboss folder, the sponge dauber as well, and the others I just used my cotton bud. I've die cut the heart, so this one, in some foam adhesive sheet. I'm going to stick it on top of that to give it some very pretty dimension on the card. The adhesive is double-sided, so it'll be easy to stick it on. And I've done the same thing with the congratulations, which I've die cut with the die in the die set. Same thing here, you see, there's the backing, and I can stick it on my card. So I'm going to stick my card together now. And your pencil lines, well, you don't see them anymore. And I'm using my liquid glue, and my advice is to put plenty on, because there is less surface now of the paper to touch the other paper. So you want to make sure that, I mean, you don't need tons on, but you do need some glue everywhere. So I'm using more glue here than I normally would do. And then you can stick it onto the card base. And give it some time to adhere. By gently pressing, you will spread the glue as well. And then, same procedure, make sure there's enough glue on your cardstock. And looking from the top, you can put it on. And because both were absolutely centered, the flowers here on the white part go over into the flowers on the blushing bride part, which has a nice look. Then this heart can go on. My sentiment can go on. And these two hearts can go inside. I'll do that later. First, I'm going to show you the flowers that I've made, and I've die cut them all and I've sponged them. And you do this in exactly the same way. I cut some extra to show you. Here we are. And you can die cut these from the scraps of paper that you have left from the shimmery white. So you just ink the edges like that. And for the leaves as well, there you can use your sponge dauber in Pear Pizzazz. I mean, there's lots of elements to this card, which means it takes some time to make it, but I think the effect is really beautiful, don't you? I'll show you on one corner how I stick the flowers together. I'll just move these ones over. Here I have some more leaves. Now per corner you need 2 leaves, and you need, I had some coloured ones. Yeah, here they are. You need 2 large flowers inked. You need 2 leaves, and you need 2 small flowers for every corner. Then you get your mini glue dots out, and these ones you put the glue dot on upside down. So you put the glue dot on the inked side, and then you slide it under a leaf. Same thing for the other one. So you put the mini glue dot on the inked side, and then you pop it under a flower, and then you can stick the flowers onto a corner, again with mini glue dots. So there, another one there. And that's better. And then you can stick the two tiny ones on as well. I'm using my tweezers for that. I have more control, see better what I'm doing. And you just pop them on there. And to finish it all off, I've used, and I can't find them now, oh, that's right, why I can't find them. Sorry about that. I've run out of my basic pearl jewels, but I can show you on this card. I have to order some. See, I put the pearls on. I can't show you because I've run out of them. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.